Alright guys, so here we are, man, taking a look at this article that I came across here, man. As you're going to see me scrolling it as I'm reading it or what have you, but as it says here, moving forward, exploring real player motion technology. And this is on EA's website, EA.com. And I wanted to point this out to you guys, man, because this is something that we've talked about for a very, very long time. For a long time, we've talked about the sharing of technology. We were told this, when Madden 25 debuted at E3, Andrew Wilson stood on the stage and he basically told us that, the Ignite engine or what have you was going to be the engine that was going to allow them to share technology. We didn't really see it. But then, a year or so ago, we hear from, at that time, a senior vice president, I believe. I don't know if I have his title correctly, but Patrick Sutherland at the time said that, they would be going into Frostbite with all of their games running on one code, one code line, being able to share technologies, etc., etc. And we're actually starting to see it. And we're seeing it right now with real player technology, real player motion technology, which is the RPM. Like it says here, the real quick breakdown, the RPM is a new technology designed to improve animation quality. RPM improves animation quality by letting us more closely mimic real-life actions of players, and this technology is coming to our EA Sports game and is already present in FIFA 18 and UFC 3. But I wanted to point out a couple things, man, because there were some things that were mentioned here about real player motion that I had no idea about. It's some things that Clint actually mentioned here in this article. As well as I believe Clint talked a little bit about this in SGO's video. Shout outs to Sports Gamers Online. I actually saw his video as I was about to do this one. That's pretty funny. But Clint talks about it there as well. But what I'm going to read to you first is a couple things by, says Principal Software Engineer George Harrer. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, as you can see the spelling right there. But he basically says, RPM is a new animation system that delivers our most responsive and fluid gameplay ever. He says, before we adopted RPM tech, animation features in our game consisted of small animation clips stitched together at runtime. Not only were these systems time consuming to build, but there was a very real limitation on visual quality you could achieve using the approach. He also says that RPM tech allows us to capture long clips of animation. There's no need to cut this data up. The result allows much more natural looking motion that is more authentic to the context in which it is meant to be played. Great news there. Now, let me go down here and read to you what Clint said. Okay? He basically said, we haven't yet had time to get everything from RPM. It basically says we haven't yet, had the time to get everything that RPM offers, which is a great thing. He says RPM will bring new player movements and improve physics and more control across the field, but there's a lot of untapped RPM tech that we did not get into Madden 19. Excuse me, I misread there. So let me read that again. He says, but there's a lot of untapped RPM tech that we did not get to for Madden 19 that we will implement and build upon the RPM story moving forward and in the future. And that's where it brings me to the point of this video. The RPM tech is allowing them to do things outside of just, player movement and player motion. It also encompasses things like, as you hear my air condition come on there, sorry about that, but also it encompasses things like player personality, which we are seeing a little bit of that in Madden, where they're doing that with the quarterbacks pre-snap and some of their mannerisms, etc. It lets me think, and makes me think that they will definitely get to a point where they'll be able to spread that across the field. I believe that's going to happen. Look what it says here about FIFA 18. The animation system unlocked new level of responsiveness and player personality, allowing guys like Cristiano Ronaldo and other top players to feel and move exactly like they do on their real pitch. That's crazy, because we see a little more player personality in those games. From what I've been told, I haven't really played FIFA to that degree. Well, I have played it, but I don't know soccer to that degree. But I have heard that these guys are playing like themselves mimicking their emotions, their animations, etc., etc. So right there, that lets me know that we're on the right track. We're on the right track as far as sharing technology, but not only just sharing technology, they're gonna definitely be able to start adding more player personality, because basically what you're seeing happening, guys, and I've said this for years, you know, Madden starts to introduce things and elements. You know, I know some people, you know, we've referred to it, even myself in the past, as, you know, football in compartments, but everything has to have a foundation, and once you build a foundation, you build upon it. Like, look at NBA Live. You know, look what they did with their player system as far as, you know, creating your player. Now they're adding that icon system to that, you know, which is taking that to the next level. But they had to introduce the initial system with the archetypes and all of that. And now in year 2 of that, now they got that icon system where you can further personalize the type of player or customize the type of player you want to build. And that's how every game has to work. So I just thought it was very interesting, man. If you want to read this full article, I will post a link to this article in the description. Definitely check it out. But I think, man, finally we're getting it to a point where these games will be sharing technology. And more importantly, you know, in the Madden community, we all talk about, why haven't they shared this? Why haven't they shared that? I think now they're on the right track, especially seeing that RPM is being stretched out, you know, amongst EA Sports games. We'll see if it happens in NHL. I have no idea. But reading what Clint Oldenburg said here, and also listening to what he said in SGO's video, this really jumps out at me. Really jumps out at me right here again. I'm going to read it where he says, RPM will bring new player movements, improved physics, and more control across the field. But there's a lot of untapped RPM tech that we did not get to for Madden 19 that we will implement and build upon the RPM story moving forward into the future. That is very interesting, man. That is very interesting. Here's another thing he says. But as a new technology, Madden 19 says Clint Oldenburg thinks the biggest challenge is not in using the RPM, but figuring out what it can't do. That's big. Not using it, but figuring out what it cannot do. I'm telling you, man. So, listen. You got to look at the things that are being done right now that can determine where things could go in the future. Alright, so that's just my opinion, man. I wanted to throw that out at you guys. Get a chance to read this if you haven't. Take a look at it for yourself. And yeah, come up with your own determination. But I think they're finally on the right track and finally starting to borrow technology from some of their better games like FIFA. And I think that's going to make Madden a much better experience going forward. Alright, so that's going to do it for this particular video. Y'all know the drill. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Cut on your notifications, hit that like button, and we'll be back at you soon with some more content. Alright, that will do it for this video, but until next time, let me know what you think. Peace.